Alright, so you've just picked up your S23 Ultra and you're looking for a case to protect it and also let that awesome color show through. So I've picked up 4 different cases, different case styles, and I'm going to try each of them, let you know pros and cons, and you can decide which is best for you. And the best part is a lot of these cases come in under $20, even $15. First case I'm going to take a look at is from this generic brand just called Fashion Case. And you can see this is a really soft type of plastic. So I know there's a lot of people who prefer, this soft, pliable type of plastic. I actually do like that type of material myself. Not sure about drop protection on these, but I do like the hand feel of them. So very simple to install and it feels good in the hand. It has a little bit of a sticky feel because of that pliable nature. So this definitely has good gripability. You can see there's just a really huge cutout for the camera lens. It doesn't encompass each of them individually. Something to keep in mind. And if we look at the bottom of it, you can see that we have access to everything: charging port, microphone, speaker, and the S Pen. All of that is pretty handy. Now, one thing I'll say is this notch here where the S Pen is, depending on where you grab it, I guess if you come from this side, it's a little bit easier, but you definitely do feel that piece of plastic around there. Something to be mindful of. If you don't want to feel that, this is definitely not the case for you. And if we take a look at this side, you can see it has some branding here, SX, S23 Ultra. And on the other side, we have, a little bumper here. Also the power button, that works no problem. And then the volume rocker, that's pretty tactile as well. In terms of protection, so if I angle it here, you can see that there is a raised lip where the camera module is. So if you go ahead and put this down flat, you're not gonna have to worry about the camera modules getting scratched. And let me just focus, there we go. You can see that there is a lip at the top here, and on the side there's a very slight lip as well. It doesn't go too much because of the curved nature of the glass. However, because on the S23 Ultra the glass is much less curved, that's not really an issue. So if I drop it here, I'm not really hearing too much of the glass making contact. That top lip there is doing a good job. Now, in terms of it staying on, you can see if you kind of pull these at the side, it's very easy to pry it apart. So long term, I would be a bit concerned about this case, losing elasticity, especially when you're putting it in your pants in and out. It's likely going to snag due to the type of finish. So maybe this is not such a great option, but if you do like a soft case, it's something to consider. Next case I'm going to look at is from Ringke, and this is a company I've used before. You can see I actually have it on my S22 Ultra, and this did start clear, but it did get yellow, and that's just what sun exposure does, even though they all say they don't get yellow. But if you guys do find one that doesn't get yellow, do let me know. I am on the hunt for one of those. So this Ringke case, you can see it does have individual cutouts, and this is a little bit pliable, but not as much as on that previous, generic brand name case that I reviewed just now, or that I showed. So this, again, easy to fit, and you can see that this looks just way more seamless, and it just looks way better with, cutouts for each camera lens. Now, if I take a side profile of the case, you can see, again, we do have a raised lip to ensure that your cameras are going to be protected. And we just have a large cutout for this section here. Now, it feels good in the hand. It doesn't feel like it's going to come apart. You can see it's taking me a bit more effort or pressure to pull it apart, and then it seems to pretty much snap right back into place. If we take a look at the side, so we do have volume rocker, power button, and that's working perfectly fine. Also have a little bumper here. And it does look like you could thread in, a piece of, lanyard or something like that. On the bottom, again, we do have cutouts. Everything is, nicely open and accessible. And if I grab the S Pen from here, I'm actually not noticing this piece of plastic, even though it seems, like more encompassing than on the previous case. It's easy for me to just get in and get out. So I do prefer the cutout on the S Pen on this case. And then if we look on the other side again, we also have a little section here to run a lanyard. Looking at the top, pretty standard stuff. And if we take a close-up view, so we can see there's a little bit of a lip on the top here. On the sides, not so much. This feels pretty much in line with the screen, but because we have a top lip and a bottom lip, let's see if I can grab that into focus. If I put the phone down flat, you know, the screen isn't actually touching the table. So this is definitely a favorite so far. It's just a nice, really clean look. Next case is another Ringke case, but this one is matte, whereas this was clear plastic. So this case is definitely a bit more sturdy. You can see it's a bit more rigid, and it has 2 protective peels that have to be removed before application. So I'm going to do that now. So you can see that's a really nice matte type of frosted finish. And I find putting the phone in from the bottom first is much easier on a lot of these phones. And there we go, it's in. Now hand feel, this feels, you know, really secure, really solid. Again, there's not much give on the plastic. Let's start again on the camera module. So again, it's that nice clean look with the cutout for each camera lens and this big cutout right there. If we take a look at the side, you can see it's a very minimal lip actually on the camera lens. It's almost flush. And on the corners of the case, however, if you can take a look at the corner right there, you can see it's a little bit raised. I'm not sure how much that's coming across on the camera. So if I put this down flat, you know, the camera lenses, they're not getting scratched. Obviously, it's not a much thicker lip, but the corners have a little bit of a raised portion. If you can see that right there, that prevents the lenses from sitting flat on the ground. Otherwise, in terms of the matte look, I am really liking how the matte looks. You know, I can still see the color coming through, but there's not that type of, you know, really clear, shiny material. So yeah, the matte looks definitely classy. And the cutouts are a little bit different, you know, in the corners here than with the clear version. The clear version looks a bit more plain. Now, taking a look at the side, so on the side we have a little area here where you can put a lanyard. Otherwise, it's pretty much a clean design. On the other side, we have the power button. Again, that works fine, no problems there. And again, another area to run a lanyard. And we do have the Ringke logo situated right in the corner there. Otherwise, you know, pretty much standard stuff. Now let's take a look at the bottom. So you can see, again, we have the same type of cutouts and it's the same type of design as on the clear case. So again, really easy to get access to the S Pen. So looking at the top of this same Ringke case in matte, so you can see a little bit of a raised lip there. Hopefully that's coming across on camera. And again, the same thing on the bottom, so that when you do put it flat down on your table for do not disturb, you know, you're not gonna have any issues with the screen becoming scratched. So far I think this is the best looking one. And again, when I'm running my finger along the finish, you know, it's what you would expect with a matte finish, so it's not super slippery. Definitely a fan of this one. The last case we're gonna look at is this case from ESR, which has a kickstand. Okay, so that's a pretty easy fit, and again, this feels very solid, very sturdy, kind of similar to the matte on the Ringke case. So yeah, let's take a look at the bottom. Pretty much everything is the same, so easy to get access to the S Pen. So it's a little bit more crowded on this side than on the Ringke cases, but it's still quite manageable and everything else is unobstructed. Taking a look at the camera module though. So let's see. You can see that we do have a bit of a lip there, but it is this full type of cutout. However, I do like that they have, you know, kind of like a little bit of text there. What does that say? Camera guard. I mean, it does look, you know, much better than on this case here with nothing written on it. So yeah, it does look, you know, kind of premium. And let's take a look at the side here. So yes, we have another area here to run a lanyard if you want to. Air pockets there. Top looks great. Let's take a look at the kickstand, since this is the standout feature on this, and you can see the hinges down there, and you can just pop that up and it just goes up to here. It doesn't go further back, and there's no in-between increments. It's just up here or all the way closed. Now once I put the phone down to view something, if I'm tapping, and you can see I'm tapping pretty hard on here, you know, it's not really going anywhere. Like, yeah, it's sliding on the table, but the phone isn't rocking like crazy. It's only if I go to the top here and I place a lot of pressure. But if I'm just tapping something on the screen, this is actually doing, you know, a much better job than I thought it would. I thought this was going to be a bit flimsy and wobbly, but you can see it's actually pretty secure in there. Yeah, so this is actually a pretty good option if you do find yourself needing a kickstand. And in terms of how much, you know, height it adds to the back of the case, you can see it's not that much more. So this should still be easy enough to get in and out of your pockets. At the front, you can see we have a lip there, and we also have a lip at the bottom. Same thing again, when you put it down, it is going to protect the screen. You're not going to have to worry. And if we take a close-up look of the side here, it's pretty much in line with the glass, so you are going to be relying on the top and bottom lip here. Another thing I noticed about the ESR case is if you look very close up at the plastic, it has that type of orange peel look or stippling. So it does have a really nice texture that runs along the side. So it actually looks, pretty nice instead of just being clear plastic. Due to the kickstand at the bottom there, whenever you're tapping the bottom portion of the phone, there is a tendency for it to lift up or rock, depending on how hard you're tapping. If you're just doing light taps, not an issue, but just something to be mindful of. So yeah, I think it's going to come down to either the ESR case or the Ringke in matte. So with this case, you can see we have a huge cutout. But because of this addition here, it does actually look kind of nice. And the kickstand, it does mesh well with the case. It's and here's the Ringke case again. So again, this looks also really classy, really elegant in this matte type of finish. And it also feels, really solid in the hand. So it's going to be a toss-up for me between the Ringke Matte and the ESR, but let me know in the comments which would you guys pick if you have to pick one. Alright, so I don't know if anyone's thinking it or if I'm the only silly one here, but since the body style isn't that much different from the S22 to the S23, here is my Ringke case from the S22, and I'm just going to show you what happens if you try to pop it on the S23. So yeah, it goes on, but once you take a look at the back, none of the camera cutouts or modules are aligned. So yeah, if you're thinking about reusing your S22 case, it's a no-go. I'm going to leave links to all 4 cases that I took a look at today, and let me know which you guys think looks best. Again, I'm having a really hard time between the Ringke Matte and this ESR case with the kickstand. Now, for your S23 Ultra, let me know what color you got. I was really having a hard time debating between this cotton flower and the botanic green. They both look really good, but in person, I'm really digging how the cotton flower looks. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye.